Good afternoon, everybody. Today I am going to make something my mom always made growing up called sausage and potato stew. Now, I don't know if y'all did this or if this is, something normal, but it's something I've been wanting to do, and I'm hoping it turns out like my mom's, but, sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. So what you're going to need is you're going to need potatoes. I'm going to start with 6 potatoes, or if you 5 medium-sized potatoes, a pound of sausage. Now I have my Conecuh hot and spicy. You can use any good smoked sausage you have, and I say good smoked sausage, not like one of those that kind of tastes like a little, like a weenie or something. Make sure it has a little bit of a seasonings and spices to it. You're going to need onions and bell pepper. So as I usually do, I use my seasoning blend, which has my onions, bell pepper, red and green, and it also has celery. So I'm going to just use some of my seasoning blend. You're going to have to make a roux, and on the roux, my mom's like, oh, well, I never measured, and I don't either. So you're just going to put enough oil, like you can see, just to cover the bottom. Now I've got flour right here, and I'm going to add the flour until I make a roux, but I don't know exactly how much yet. I'll let y'all know once we start, mixing it up. You're going to need your pepper, your salt. I'm going to add a little bit garlic powder to mine and some mixed up salts because I just like the flavor. I think this just kind of kicks up the flavor of everything. Probably not much because the spicy sausage is going to have a little bit of a kick to it. So let me get the roux started, the potatoes peeled, and I'll be right back. So I got my potatoes cut up, and I wound up using a little bit over half a pound of the sausage. This is the hot and spicy, and it is kind of spicy, so I'm only going to use half. Plus I'm making a small batch, I'm not making a large batch. So I'm just going to, since I'm only using like 5 of the potatoes, I'm just using half of the sausage. So I've got my grease in the pan, and again, you're only going to do what is covering the bottom. That's the way my mom measured it. So I'm going to put flour, and you're going to want to put the flour until yeah, and I think I used a little bit too much oil. I think that's going to be too much. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go with it because she said cover the bottom. If it winds up being too much roux, I can always take some of the roux out before I start adding water, but we're already starting the process. So, and the way my mom said to do it, so that would have been, for that much, I probably had a little over 1/4 of a cup. So you want your flour and oil to thicken. She said make it the color of peanut butter. So I've got to cook this until it turns to peanut butter. So, well, you know what? I'm fixing to take out some of this oil. I know, I'm confusing. I'm going to take out some of this oil and get me a little bit more flour, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So I took out a good spoon, about half a spoon of the oil out, and I've added more flour. You want it to be more like a paste. You see how this is? And you're going to need to constantly stir this. So do not turn this over medium high. And I'm going to keep stirring until I get it to the right color. And then I'm going to start adding in my onions and potatoes and sausage and saute them all together. And then I'm going to start adding my water. So I'll be right back. Okay, so Mom said peanut butter, and that looks like peanut butter to me. So I think we're good. And for those of you who make roux all the time, I'm sure you're going to come at me. But I was trying to follow my mom's exact directions because her sausage and potato stew is always the best. So, and I don't make roux a whole lot, just for certain things. So if you make your roux different, please do that. You don't have to follow. I'm just trying to help people who've never made a roux. And the color, and again, my mom said to make it the color of peanut butter, and that looks like peanut butter to me. So I'm going to start adding in. I'm adding my onions and bell pepper. She said add everything in together. So I'm going to do that. And we're going to get this sauteed. She said just saute it for a few minutes. Get that brown roux all over everything. And then I'm going to start adding in my water. And the water should cover your potatoes and sausage. So let me get this just sauteed for a few minutes. And then when I'm ready to add the water, I will be back. Okay, it's been about 2 or 3 minutes. You don't really have to cook this long. You're just kind of like getting the roux all over the sausage and potatoes. And now we're going to start adding water. Again, my mom said put it to where it covers your potatoes and your sausage. So we are going to stir this in real good. She also said don't add your salt and pepper and things like that until after you get all the water and everything mixed in and the gravy starts to thicken up a little bit so you can taste it. So I'm going to stir this. I'm going to cover it. And then when I get to the seasoning part, I will be back. Okay, everybody. So I called my mom because I wasn't 100% sure. But she said you cook it uncovered, not covered. So it's been on medium and it's been cooking about 30 minutes. And she also said to make sure your potatoes were big. You weren't chopping them small because you want them to have some texture. You don't want them to turn to mush. So now that I can just push the spoon through it without them being mushy, this is the time to go ahead and add your salt and pepper. Now, I use the spicy sausage, so I'm not going to use a whole lot of pepper, but I did taste it, and it definitely needs some salt. So I'm just going to kind of sprinkle it over the top. I am going to put a little bit of garlic, not a whole lot, and then I'm going to sprinkle some of my mixed up salts over the top. So I'm going to cook this like for another 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to taste it again and see if it's going to need anything else. If not, it may be ready to serve. All right, so it's been a few minutes. I did taste it. It needed a little bit more salt, just a little bit. I added that. I retasted, and it is perfect now. So, and if I remember correctly, which I'm pretty sure I do, because my mom gave us, no matter what we ate, she made rice with it. My mom did do rice. I'm not going to do rice. I just like to eat it just like this. You can, like I said, this is 5 potatoes, 5 or 6 potatoes, and a half a thing of sausage. The sausage is the spicy kind, so it definitely didn't need more pepper. So I'm going to let this cool just a minute, and I'm going to take a bite. Okay, so I think this is finally cool enough to take a bite to try this. I don't want to burn myself. I burnt myself this morning on coffee. Oh, good way to start the morning. But let me get this taste. I actually did it. It tastes like Mom's. Now, it is a little bit more spicy than Mom's because of the sausage. If you use regular smoked sausage, it probably wouldn't be this spicy, but it is a little bit spicy. Also, you can make rice with this because I know my mom always put rice with it, so that kind of helped the meal spread further. Or you can eat it just like this. If you want to make more roux, so this is a thicker gravy, you can. I like this consistency, and this is the way I remember it. Again, you don't want your potatoes cut small. You want them kind of big so that they don't just fall apart and become mush. So this is my mom's sausage and potato stew. If y'all have any questions, let me know. If not, enjoy, y'all.